Morning at NTV.
Thank you so much for keeping it here on Morning at NTV. Stephen Imbide on Fefeso Chuga now coming to you from Bugolobi. We know that we've been keeping our eyes on Kenya, as Uganda, as East Africa, but as well as Africa and the whole world people have been waiting for the result from Kenya. The IEBC came out, the chairperson came out yesterday, that is Wafula Chebukati, and announced that Dr. William Samoei Ruto is the president-elect of Kenya. But this was after his deputy chairperson, that is Juliana Cherera, came out with three others, the commissioners, saying that no, we don't agree with the decision that's going to be announced shortly. And she advised those who are aggrieved to go to courts of law. There is still tension because Raila Odinga hasn't spoken a word apart from his running mate, that is Martha Karua, and she's saying it's not yet time until it's over. It's not over until it's over. I'm here with Honorable Minister of State for Foreign Affairs in charge of international relations, Ladid Henry Okero Oliem. Good morning to you, Honorable, and thank you so much for welcoming us into your home.
Pleasure, Stephen. It's nice to be back on NTV this morning, and I hope that we can have a fruitful discussion on what's happening in our neighbor's country here. I want to make it very clear, this is an open discussion without interfering in the internal affairs of the country, of my neighboring country.
When you say internal affairs, but we know that some other countries, I'm talking about Somalia, the president of South Africa, Cyril Ramaphosa, the president of Nigeria, the president of Burundi, president of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, and so many others, like Prime Minister of Ethiopia, have already come out and congratulated Dr. Ruto. But Uganda is still silent. Even when you move on streets of Kampala, even on social media, people are saying that Uganda, through the president, has been bid with the president-elect of Kenya. Why are we still silent?
We are not silent, and there is no rule that you should rush to. If you look at how we have normally sent our congratulations or recognitions of elected head of states in this region, you'll find that Uganda does not immediately or the first day, or sometimes even after 2 days, Uganda congratulates any country, not only Kenya, but other countries with which we have been dealing with, our neighbors, countries in Europe, countries in Africa. Normally, the president takes a decision that we should recognize the country, but there's a precedent, there's an existing precedent that is known, very well known around, that Uganda is normally not recognized on the first day of the results.
Are you looking forward to recognize it? And then what would the Ruto administration mean for Kenya and for the region if we had to go by what the IEBC chairperson declared?
Of course, we welcome Ruto's elections, but most importantly, we welcome the decision by the Kenyans to go to the ballot paper and to vote their leader, who is now currently Ruto. The circumstances leading to the declaration of the results has been of great interest to Uganda and the region. It's taken Kenyans, the Independent Electoral Commission, 1 week to declare this result. It has put everybody in anxiety. We were all on our toes. People had a lot of pressure, and it was like walking the plank to the death row. So, and also in the 1 week, many things politically could happen. But I'm glad that it's come to pass, and we now look forward to what would go hereafter.
As we look at what we see after, we know that Azimio la Umoja, that was even supported by the sitting president Uhuru Kenyatta, who is your personal friend, has not yet conceded defeat. And going by what we saw yesterday at the confusion at the Bomas, where we saw at least some people being whisked away, some people being even fist fights. What does this mean for the election, for the process? Many have been calling a peaceful election, a peaceful and free process. What does it mean for the image of Kenya, for the image of a brand of IEBC, but also, of course, also the entire electoral process, how it's managed?
I think in judging these elections, we should realize that any elections is not a one-day process, or it's not an instant process of just putting a ballot paper in a ballot box. the whole thing is a very protracted process. From early preparations, going to elections, for registration of voters, to finally the voting day, voting, then then tallying the results, and then post-election issues. Therefore, as government, we have looked at these Kenyan elections with a lot of interest and worked hard for the last 3 or 4 months in taking strategic positions in relating to many scenarios that could happen in Kenya, including the possibility of violence, the possibility of other things emerging. We are taking into consideration to ensure that Uganda is safe and also Uganda is not cut off from the rest of the world.
Away from safety, do you, as government of Uganda, learned anything, especially in the management of electoral processes?
I don't think that there's anything to learn from the Kenyan process.
Why?
We of course, it is something to study, something to look at. But overall, as Uganda, we don't only look at Kenya's elections as a standard for us to also develop ours. We look at several scenarios in elections in other countries, including the one of Kenya, of course, we studied with great interest. The elections take place in Tanzania also, we'll look at that one. Soon also there'll be elections taking place in the DRC, and so on and so forth. So we are going to look at all this, leading toward preparations for our next elections, to make sure that lessons are learned, not only from the Kenyan ones, the experiences and interesting things to learn from Kenya elections, which we will take into a board, but also will take into consideration others, not only the one from Kenya.
When Martha Akarua says that it's not over yet until it's over, and some people are saying that Azimio la Umoja is heading to the Supreme Court, but we know that when the Supreme Court overturned the election, the previous election, Raila Odinga didn't come back to the ballot or to contest. What do you read with all this, and do you even think they have sounding evidence against the result?
Well, it has now become a practice the world over that, as she said, these elections are not over until it is over. We saw what happened in the United States after the elections of the recent elections when President Biden was elected. The Trump camp was not happy. The Trump camp even wanted to go to court. And up to now, the Trump camp is still accusing the Electoral Commission of having their votes being stolen. And they're saying that Biden is not the legitimate president of the United States of America. So this has become more a common practice, not only in Africa, but we have seen that even as far as the United States of America, where when there's results of elections, those who lose normally look at popular options of going to a court to petition. And I will not be surprised, and one should not look at it as something bad if the Raila Odinga camp goes to petition and goes to court. It should not be seen as something negative. It's allowed. It's in the law. When the parties went to elections, they knew that anybody has a right to go and petition. Now, it's only the question is, do they have solid, irrefutable grounds to go to the courts of law and petition the results in order for them to have the results overturned and either the whole elections taken rerun, or do we recount whatever the court decides? Okay. But at the end of the day, it's the right of the party that lost elections to petition, and it should not be seen as something negative.
I've seen already in parts of Kisumu, by yesterday there was some bits of violence, some young people blocking roads and others throwing stones. This violence seems to be, it began like this in 2007, and over thousands of people lost their lives and property. If it all goes like this, violence springing up from different areas, this is going to be catastrophic for Kenya, but also for the region, isn't it? I
totally agree with you that this is unacceptable. I think it is now time for the leaders, all leaders, the Ruto group and the Raila Odinga group and others groups, to stand up and be counted at this particular time by totally denouncing those who are causing trouble, those who are causing violence, calling on to their supporters to restrain and be restrained. As we said earlier, it's not over until it's over. So they should be patient. They should be patient and do not get themselves involved in this unfortunate situation of the violence. Because Kenya is a very mixed society. But also, it's very unfortunate that the Kenyan politics is based on regional alliances. One region alliance with another group, another is alliance with another group. So it makes it almost if there is violence in one group, then it has implications on those who the minority from this big group who are scattered out in other places. So for example, now in Kisumu, those in Kisumu who have openly come out violently, if they go and injure other people, other tribes in Kisumu, they should also know that there are other people from the Kisumu tribe or the Luos who are in other communities.
Okay.
And those communities take revenge against for their people who have been injured. So we request an advice to the Kenyan Wananchi, just and I'm sure the leaders will call on them to restrain, that they should restrain from violence. Up to now, the fallout from the 2007 elections, when thousands of refugees from Kenya ran into Uganda, there are some Kenyans who have not returned. Yeah. They're still here in Uganda in the refugee camps. And I don't know if they'll ever return. So we do not want them again more to come here. We welcome them if they're the refugees, but we want them to stay in their homes and develop their country.
Okay, finally, Honorable, we know there are so many Ugandans living in Kenya, but also we know that of recent, we've not had better relations with Kenya, even when we are working together on security and other issues. But talking about business-wise, we've seen the issues with our maize, our sugar, our dairy products and the like. What's your call? What's going to be the message from Kampala to the new administration in Kenya as we wind up?
First of all, our diplomatic relations and bilateral relations with Kenya is perfect. There is no problem at all with that. In terms of diplomatic, political relationship and person-to-person relationship between the leadership, it is perfect. I can tell you it's very cordial and perfect should be the word. However, the friends normally disagree. And friends who normally disagree and agree to make up and their differences and continue being friends, those are real friends. And this is what's happened in Kenya. There are times when they disagree, but we continue being friends thereafter once we've resolved what has caused the disagreement. There is a problem with exportation of sugar to Kenya. There's exportation of milk in Kenya. We hope that the new administration can review this matter and look at it in a different manner and see how this matter can be resolved as soon as possible, so that there's a free movement of Ugandan products into Kenya, particularly milk and dairy products that have been banned.
And very finally is the issue of the President-elect William Ruto. I remember during November 2021, he tried to fly to Uganda using a private jet, but he was stopped by the outgoing administration, his boss, the president, on orders apparently from the president, that he should not come to Uganda. But he has been here, I remember from 2015 on official visits, I think 5 of them, 2015 up to today, engaging in different talks with the president. And people out there still insist that maybe this will also bolster the relationship between Uganda and Kenya, based on the fact that he is a friend to Yoweri Kaguta Museveni.
Sure, Ruto is a friend to President Museveni, a very close friend. President Uhuru also is a very close friend to President Museveni, including Raila Odinga, a very close friend. I'm a very close friend to President Uhuru. I know Raila very well. Even Ruto, I do know Ruto very well. However, I think the decision of the President Uhuru to stop Ruto at that time was a strategic one. He did not want the situation to be created, to be seen as they go to elections, to be seen as one of the candidates being favored by Uganda in order to bring friction between Uganda and Kenya. So it was just a strategic decision of his that if Ruto were to come to Uganda, it will be seen in future by those going to elections, or by the community in Kenya and Uganda, that probably Museveni is interfering in the affairs of Kenya. So to save the day, in fact, to save the day, or even save the embarrassment of President Museveni, President Kenyatta took the decision that Ruto should not come to Uganda, otherwise it might create a situation of embarrassment to President Museveni when people turn around and say President Museveni is being supporting Ruto. So I think it was a strategic decision by President Uhuru Kenyatta to avoid a possible conflict that would emerge from that visit. My final word is I would like to thank the Kenyan electorate once more for going to the poll and finally electing their leader. I hope that within the next a week or two, we can get a final decision on this decision. President Museveni is going to, of course, send his congratulatory message to the winner of these elections. And finally, we hope that the people of Kenya will respect each other and maintain peace and order for their country.
Thank you so much, Ladit Henry Okello-Oryem, the Minister of State for Foreign Affairs in charge of international relations. Stephen Mbide on Fefeso Chibuga. Of course, we shall still be keeping our eyes on Kenya and what happens there. And of course, we shall be updating you on much more from Nairobi.